our followers are coming, so I think that I will tell some words about you. That's okay?
Okay,
Cool.
of course.
Very nice. First, thank you a lot for accept the invitation. I am sure that this invitation, this interview, will be very nice to our community. Let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to you.
Patrizia Moselli is psychotherapist, director of Italian Society of Bioenergetic Analysis. She is international trainer, faculty and board member of International Institute of Bioenergetic Analysis. She had direct contact with Alexander Lowen, worked with Carl Rogers. She wrote a book and a lot of scientific articles. She is awesome. I know her a little and I am very happy with this interview. Thank you again, Patrizia.
Thank you for your presentation. I hope the interview will be good, okay?
Cool. You wish say some words or you wish that I start with the first question?
No, you can start with the question and I will answer to the question. I just want to thank you to you, Dante, because I know that you do many efforts to spread the bioenergetics analysis in the world. So I think we have the same purpose in a sense.
Yes, thank you, Patrizia. First question. How did you learn about bioenergetics and why did you choose it?
I learned about bioenergetics. I was very young. I was 23, and I was exposed to my first training in psychotherapy was by Jules Grossman, that was a psychotherapist, American psychotherapist, that was exposed to, both to Rogers and to bioenergetics, mostly to Keleman, not directly to bioenergetics, but I start to be curious about bodywork, and then when in Italy SIAB organized the first training program, I joined the training program in bioenergetics, and I did at the same time the Rogerian training. So my first training was always blended between a strong Rogerian effort and bioenergetics also.
Cool. And how was your relationship with creator Alexander Lowen?
I met Al Lowen a little bit later, much later than when I start to study bioenergetics. I was in a training program with my mainly training program where Renato Monaco, that was the first trainer that came to Italy, then Bill White, Jim Miller, Michael Conant, that is still a very good friend of mine. They're all very good friends of mine. And Eleanor Grilli, they were the main trainer that came in Italy, and they start to teach all the bioenergetic community of SIAB. And later, I met Hal Lowen when he came to Italy. Usually I used to translate. My English is much better from English to Italian. So I used to translate him, and I start to meet him. And then we organized with Al Lowen a big conference in Italy, and I was there in a big Palladium that we did also a very big movie for his work. And then was that the moment that I start to have a much more closer relationship with him, because we spent 2-3 days together since I was his translator. And then he said, oh, maybe you have to come to New York and do some work with me. So at that time, I also loved to go to New York, and I decided to spend 3-4 summer. I spent almost more or less 1 month, a little bit more than 1 month in New York. I used to go to New Canaan, and I did personal therapy with him. So my relationship became much more stronger. And but basically, my knowing of Owen was when he was older. So I know that his personality for many people of the IIBA is controversial, but I have a very tender and beautiful moment because I think it was much more mellow when he was older, and so for me it was much easier. I had a very beautiful relationship with him, so I have very nice memory of him.
Cool.
And also we did with the SIAB, the board of directors, we went several times also to all together. We spent time in New Canaan. We used to work with Owen. That was very important for to build our connection as a board of SIAB, but also was very important to have a very special relationship with him. We did also a movie and that are on YouTube, that is SIAB Encounter Alexander Lowen. And so it's very nice. We have a very nice memory of him. And I think in our society, we are grateful to our international trainers, and we are also very grateful to him because he was very generous with us. He used to work for 2-3 days with all of us, and also doing some theoretical exploration. So I have a very nice memory of those days. They were beautiful. They were nice days for us because we were traveling together. We were going to New Canaan, and so they were really magical moments for us. And for me, I was very young. I was impressed how sharp and intelligent and alive. That was always what was fascinating for me in my meeting with Al. How he was a very good example of trusting the wisdom of the body, the vitality of the body. So that's, I think, it was very important because I found that he was dedicated to his work until the end of his life. He was always thinking what the process, how to increase the self-awareness in bioenergetics. That was really I get by my experience with him. And also I have to say that was I still have a very nice memory in my heart for all the international trainers that were important for me on the beginning of my training program. So that was a very good foundation for me to be rooted and believed in bioenergetics. Also, in a sense, traditional bioenergetics with all the development that has been in bioenergetics during the war.
Very nice. You know Bennett Shapiro too, or not?
Oh, yes, I know very well Ben. Ben came in Italy for many years to train, especially advanced people in bioenergetics. I had a strong relationship with him. Ben is a strong personality. I have a strong personality also. So on the end, we fight a little bit, but still I have a very good memory of him and big appreciation for his work and a big love for his as a personality also. If he's a difficult personality, but he's a beautiful man. And I think Ben is very, he really, especially, I talk also about that, and also I know that Ben is not a part of the IIBA anymore, but I think that his influence on the development of bioenergetics is very important because he really developed a method to go and to work with the energy, to work with the vitality that I think is very, very important. And so I'm very grateful. And I think in Italy there are many people that were followed Ben, and they are very grateful to him also. Cool. And that is also, as I think, what really is special about SIAB and what we believe in SIAB. We really believe it to be really grounded in our identity as a bioenergetic people, like to be grounded in also in the strong body work, but we are being always very sensitive to all the chain, and so all the relational development that is being in bioenergetics. We are trying to take both the old energetic work with the relational work. That's we really believe it, and I think. Also, I didn't mention Bob Hilton that he came, Bob and Virginia, they're very, I really been with them and they are very good friends of mine. I remember once something very important that Bob Hilton told us in a workshop in Rome. He said that what is very different about to be relational in bioenergetics, that we are people that believe in relation, but we believe also to stay in the conflict. So I think that is very important. So for us, attunement relation is not just to be always in peace, but to be in relation also when there are problems. And that's I really believe it. I think that is very important. I think that is what we try to live also in every day in our society in SIAB. But we don't avoid conflict, we have conflict, but we still believe in the strong sense of connection. And in a sense, it's important that we all believe it, that we are all people that really we believe it in bioenergetics, in the strength of bioenergetics and the importance of the body work. So I think that is very important.
Yes, I agree with you. It's very important. Mixed the two ways.
Not to say that one was worse and one is better, but there is a big straight anytime that we can put those two things together. Like we have to be people that, because if we leave all the strong bioenergetic work that is, and the energetic work, I think also one person that talks a lot about that in a very important way is, for example, also Angelica Krosbeck of ITA, people that believe it in a strong connection, but also don't want to deny the all strong energetic work. And of course, you have to know if the person is able to sustain and what is important in which moment is important for the person, how to work. But I think a good bioenergetic therapist has to be able to work in both ways, not just in the way that is just strong energetic work, but either not just in a relational work. The combination of the two work is very important. I say that is very, very important.
Perfect. Exploring this subject at your institute, do you teach attachment theory and neuroscience?
Of course, because we are very, we think that is very important to be open in what happening in the field of psychology. Like bioenergetic cannot be an isolating model. Has to be I think has to be a model that is able to incorporate, in a sense, new idea, new model, and in this sense, the attachment theory is very important because we can relate also to character structure. So we can read the attachment theory in relation of what's happening in the development of the character structure that we still teach in a very deep way, especially in the first 2 years of training. And also neuroscience is very important because I think the affective, especially neuroscience, like Pansep and other people, really, Osho, for example, make enlight there were the intuition or right and low. And so we had to use neuroscience to say that, okay, those people already saw those things and they have intuition, and now we can prove with the neuroscience that those intuitions were right. And so it's very important to explore also that in a neuroscientific level and to do research in that. We are our members like Alessandro Cataldi or Ada Lentini that are very dedicated to that. They really teach that in our course, and they helps to make those integration within neuroscience and bioenergetics. Of course, attachment and is important also, attachment theory, because I said it is a way to understand more the character structure, but also is a way to understand more the relationship that we build with our clients or with our patients. So I think it's very important to have more tunes to go deeper in therapy. So whatever is important. It's important also to have a bioenergetics that is able to have the relationship, in a sense, a dialogue with other approach. Otherwise, it cannot be an isolating model. If it is an isolating model, can be perfect, but also we are not able to, in a sense, go into the world and say, okay, we are not just bioenergetic therapists, we are psychotherapists. So we are psychologists and psychotherapists, so we are able to, as all the new bioenergetics, we are able to integrate all the important develop in the field of psychology and the field of psychotherapy.
Perfect. The new bioenergetics. Cool. Actually, very nice. Patricia, how was it to build a bioenergetic analysis society of the size of SIAB? What are the most important moments? Because I know your society is very big, very strong, very creative, very vibrant. We can see in our congress.
Because we believe in the sense of connection. So that's why we don't, it's a society, because we always say that we don't train people and then we don't want the people that spread and not stay together. So it's been always an effort that the SIAB did since the beginning. And in SIAB, we started with very strong personality, like Gabriella Butti-Zaccagnini, that was an international trainer, that she did a lot for bioenergetics, but also person like that. Unfortunately, those people have died now, like Luisa Parmigiani, that were Lowen talk about her also in his latest book. There were really people that really believed in bioenergetics, and so they start our roots in a sense, like, and also people that are still alive, but is the first generation in SIAB, like Aristide, Ionotakis, or Luisa Versa, Margherita Giustiniani. They are all people that founded for us very big roots, and so I'm a second generation in a sense, and now we have a third generation and fourth generation, because the SIAB really goes on with training. So we have new people that they stay together, they understand, and so we are very dedicated to that. People that stay in SIAB, they stay because they believe in a sense of community, in a sense of organization, because it's something that really is important for me, because I don't think that we can go and spread bioenergetics alone. Not one therapist can do. We are strong if we are together, and so I think that is a big mission also for the IIBA, to be together and to use all the strength, because, for example, in my society, each member has his specific strength, and and they have my mobile folder, So we're going together, and we try to take all that strength together. So for SIAB, for example, it's been very important to have the recognition of the Ministry of the University. And so we are now allowed to, in Italy, there is a system where after the 4 years of university, actually now it's 5 years of university, people to become psychotherapy, they have to go to a training program. And so what was very important is to be licensed by the states to license psychotherapists, because in a sense that was a big revolution, because what we had now is people that I have to say that I'm be glad about this law, to have people that are psychologists, so they know a lot about the field, the general field of psychology. I'm a psychologist myself, but they are also dedicated not just to science, but also to art, that is more the part of bioenergetics. So it's again something too straight that they're going together. So it's not one or the other side, but is to put that things together. And I think that's what we do. We are in a relationship to all the other mainstream of psychotherapy in Italy. We were part of the Federation of Italian Psychotherapy, and we've been in charge of the federation. I was president, and also Luisa Manca was president of the federation. So that means that people really trust the bioenergetic people as like competent people, not just people that they are part of a strange alternative psychotherapy, because I think that is important. We can have all the strength of an alternative psychotherapy, but also the roots of an important competitor with other field of psychotherapy. Also was very important, we were, I'm proud of that, because we have been the first society to become a mature society in the IIBA, because we have many good local trainers that were not speaking in English, but teaching committee, to talk about how was for the old people, for us to do, because with the lockdown, many people in the society use online psychotherapy. So we share our experience, we wrote about our experience, and now we will write a book that will collect all the personal experience, and so we will make an e-book about that. So that's
very nice.
one of the
only
things
in Italian.
Yes.
Only in Italian.
It's already difficult to do in Italian, so but we will do it.
Very nice idea. Very nice idea.
That's because that are things that put us together, and is a big motivation to be together. Also, we have in Italy something that is very similar to the social clinic in Brazil. We have and we have been very active with our social clinic in our clinical center, we call a clinical center in Italy. And we've been giving psychotherapy for free for many, for the period of lockdown. You know that now we are a little bit out from the lockdown, but until July we will still do psychotherapy. And those psychotherapy are doing by the Minister of Health. So that has been also a big recognition for bioenergetics. That is important also.
Very nice.
So we try, and that is impossible to do those things alone. You do those things if many people are collecting and work together, like Gabriele, Alessandro, we did a movie to invite people to call us and to offer. For the whole period, I did this supervision for free. So there was a big exchange to offer to the population this service, but also to grow as a professional.
Yeah.
So that's why we will do the book.
Very nice. How many societies you have on Italy of Bioenergetics?
3.
3. And do you know how many CBTs in Italy? I don't know.
I don't know in the other society, but I know that in my society that almost more than 50, and now more and more people are become CBT, because we try to improve, because since we have the law in Italy, there is that tendency, there was that tendency that it's not important to become a CBT because I have my license that allowed, because in Italy is a license to become psychotherapy recognized by the state that we give. So they thought that CBT, they pay more IBA, they pay more our society, and they didn't see how it was important to become a CBT to be a full member of the IBA. That's what I'm trying to convince most of the people, also because there has to be a new generation that will take SIAB. We cannot stay always the same people, and so that. And I have to say that I listen to Olaf. In Italy is a little bit different. We have many people that are in the 30s, in the mid-30s, in the mid-40s, so there is not just people that are old. We are old because we are the other generation, but there are many people that are active and they have your age and also younger, and that's also give a big vitality, because it's important. That's why I always try to encourage those people to do the effort to become CBT in a sense, because to have them much more complete also in the Bioenergetic training program.
Cool,
so,
very
but
nice.
I think we are 60 now, but the members are much more. We are almost 200 members, so still I don't know how many members. Maybe psychotherapy is 100 members, because we also have a different kind of members that are people that are not psychologists, but they are teacher of what we now change the name of Bioenergetic exercise. And we called, since 1 year ago, movement Bioenergetics class, because we think that was for the other people was difficult to understand exercise. And movement Bioenergetics is much more also dynamic, and people are much more interested. So we have training program for those people, and for people that we call counselor. That means they are more involved in the social work of Bioenergetic, like teacher, nurses, other kind of people that work with immigration, that use the Bioenergetic tool, not all the tools of the psychotherapists, but those are also members of our society, and maybe we can see a way to include that in the IPA also. I want to see also that.
Very nice idea, movement. Here in Brazil, we call it a movement group.
A movement group. We call it movement Bioenergetics. That is not psychotherapy. It's just the old class of Bioenergetic class. So we had the same idea without. I think that there are many similarities, because also the Brazilian people are very enthusiastic in Bioenergetics. And then there is also in Italy. So it's also kind of interesting synchronicity that we call it with the same name, without also to exchange just by transmission, energetic transmission.
Talking about Olaf, Olaf told us about a 2-year curriculum common to all body approaches in Europe. Is it compatible with the current IIBA curriculum you use too in Italy?
No, not at all, because in Italy also we have to use a curriculum that is approved by the states.
Ah,
So
like you.
So we do we in the first 2 years also we do very strong traditional bioenergetics. So we start with the 5 character structure, and plus the narcissism, and then we open to a more broad vision, or we try to implement more in the 3rd and the 4 years and the 5th years, because our training program, if people want to stay in our society and they want to become a CBT, they have to do not just 4 for the states, 5 for to stay in our society. So then the 5th year is more supervision. So they are more from the 3rd year that we are making more common ground with other body approach. That in the first 2 years we are much more grounded in traditional bioenergetics.
Cool. To be a CBT on Italy, 4 years for
5.
formation? 5 years.
5.
5 years. Wow, cool. You are the current chair of the IIBA teaching committee.
Yes.
What are your plans and ideas?
But basically, we started, since there is this big change now in our society that is the teaching online. So what we are doing now is to share, to ask all the international trainers to share their experience of teaching online. And Gitonello already did, Susan Connor did it, and many other people are answer, Miriam Mantao and other with experience in Brazil. And then we want to collect those experiences together. And when there will be the conference in Brazil, then we can discuss about what are the possible change. I think maybe the future will go in the direction, in my idea, in a blended way, because I think they are teaching my personal idea is not the idea of the teaching committee. I share my idea that are things that can be done online and things that are impossible to teach online. So
Sorry, impossible or possible? I don't know.
impossible. Some
Impossible.
are possible. Some are possible, but some are impossible. So the direction that I see is a blended way to maybe to facilitate inside teaching with the teaching online, but also to do in person. That is the way that is more. There are techniques that are so strong that is and subtle, also subtle, that are difficult to teach just online. But many theoretical or way elaborating things are important and are possible to do online. And I have to say that my students, especially the psychotherapy students, they were very, they stay some time on the teaching also for 3 days, 6-7 hours a day. So that's to show the motivation to go on and not to stop the training program and the flow of learning, because they really want to learn and they didn't want to stop during the time of lockdown. So I think those are very important things. And we also have to believe that in Italy, for example, in our training program, the average is 30-40 years. And so there are people that are used to work online. And so that's also maybe facilitating the things. But
Cool.
Still, everybody is also eager, wants really to go back to the teaching in presence, of course.
In
can be
presence.
not. Yes.
Yeah. And now in your society, you are giving classes online, or you are stopped?
Oh yes, that's what I said. We for all the period of lockdown until also next weekend, I will do a teaching about the schizoid character structure online, but just 2 days and the more theoretical part. And
Okay,
then in
yeah.
September we will show, because we hope that in September we can be possible to see people in presence if nothing happening again. And so
Yeah.
we will teach all the technique that is online. You can do a lot of elaboration, also some good body psychotherapy, but the teaching to show the technique, the saddle or the technique, I think those are they have to be done in presence.
Cool. Very nice. In your article in our 2017 newspaper, not this, the 2017,
Yes.
intersubjectivity in the construction of the boundaries. You talked about the mother-baby relationship, and you related it to be therapist-client, to the therapist-client relationship. Could you comment, please, a little?
Yes, I was really impressed by a famous book from Bibi Lackman, the two famous researchers of they said that the first relationship that you have, there will be the basic, and there will be, in a sense, the roots of the relationship that you will live all your life. And then I think it was fascinating because it's very similar what, in a sense, Lowen was writing in his description of character structure. So I think it's very crucial the first moment that we have in our life, because they are, in a sense, especially for us, we know that they are embodied, they are right in our body. And so it's important that in psychotherapy, the relationship has to be a reparative relationship, an emotional reparative, body reparative relationship. So it's important to recognize, and the therapist has to recognize what kind of relationship the person has in his early moment, and to be, in a sense, reparative on that level, and to help the person to grow with a different relationship that will be a base for a new energetic life, in a sense. Because I think, I really believe that what we try to give to people is a way to regain the old energy that was, in a sense, suppressed by the difficult time in our life. So
Cool.
it's important that the therapist can be also a container for that.
The name of your book, maybe MV Agost asks, can you ask the name of the book? About your book, the name of your book?
The name of my book is, I wrote more articles. My book is, I edit in this book. And because I forgot to say that, I don't know if I said that, I was influenced a lot by Jim Miller. Jim Miller has been an international trainer, also was a strong personality. So with many people, because also with Al, we start to fight, and then we got in a big loving relationship. And with Jim, I'm very grateful to Jim Miller, because when I was, I think, 28, 29, he invited me to the Whistler conference, that I think has been one of the experiments more interesting that has been done in bioenergetics, because there were growth conference, but there was also a way to think about a problem. An important book that one Wizard conference was on the theme of control transfer. So I translate the book, I put together other articles with like Ben and other people, and so we, my article and other Italian article, and I edited this book in Italy that is being still republished after more than maybe 20 years, so it's a big people, and that is very important about bioenergetics, because we have many, as also the interview that you did can show, very interesting thinking, and so we have to be able to spread more our thinking in the world, also I think will be important that also to do research. It's also another big goals that bioenergetics had to have it. So I now know that the chair of the research committee is a Brazilian, so I hope that we can work together to increase, not because we have to approve, but in this modern world, if you have a research, is important, and so we have to do everything that is important for to be heard. That is my idea, not to think that we cannot, but much more to be there, to believe that our system is very strong, so it's possible to be, that the people really can be spread a lot. I think that is important.
What message do you have for the new students?
What I said before is important to be very rooted in a good theoretical background that has to be in our back, in a sense, because if our theoretical background is strong, we feel that we have a structure, but that has to be in our back, because the front has to be open to the encounter with the other person. So to have that mix, not to think that we can understand bioenergetics just with our head, because that is impossible, but to use the integration within emotion and thinking and grounding is very important. So that's why I will say that will make us more complete as a psychotherapist, because as a psychotherapy we need to have our presence, to encounter the other person, and we need to have our thinking to elaborating what's happening with that person, because otherwise, so to have always those two moments together. That's what I would say that is very important. And also, I think many other people that you interviewed told that bioenergetics, I understand more and more and more now than when I started. That was, and so you don't have to think that you have to know everything to start, but also you have to be patient to learn and to understand deeper and deeper the deeper of bioenergetics. I always remember what was fascinating for me when I met Al, that I think was once, not in the first time, when I went to New Canaan, and I was already in his 90s, was that he was processing his life. And it was what I understood about the relationship with my mother lately. That was fascinating for me, that a person or 90 years old can be so dedicating to process himself. And so I think that is important, to have always the ability and the curiosity to learn about other people and ourselves, and not to be closed in a rigid structure. So that's, I don't know if my English is understandable, but that's what I really would like to say to the people, to believe in the body work, and to believe also in the strength of the body work and the integration with the background.
Yes, how you, Patrizia, see the future of bioenergetic analysis? Please tell to us.
In a sense, I answer a little bit of what I said already yesterday. The future, I see three big challenges for bioenergetic analysis. One is to put together the humanistic knowledge. That is more the open art, to be open and to use the body for to be very close to people, and what are our value in a sense in bioenergetics, with more scientific looking on that. So to have some scientific proof. And that I see, for example, in my society, is very important to use the knowledge of our young students, that they have both the passion for the humanistic field and the passion for the research and more scientific field. So I think if we are able to put those two energy together, we will be very strong. Another big challenge is to know that we cannot be alone now in the world, and we can, energetic cannot be just something that is relating to a small private setting, but it's a more larger connection that we need to have, that we need to have many attention to the social need of the people, because that will be more and more the case. And as a bioenergetics, we have a lot to teach, because we have a lot to teach in the clinical field. For example, all the trauma field is something that I feel we are really expert, because all the character structure is something that starts with the trauma. So we know how to make people recover from trauma, and there is a big stereotype that we re-traumatize people. That is not true. Because since the first early structure, Lowen teach us that we have to go very slowly, very subtle, to build the energy, to build the confidence. That is basic to restore the sensation in the body. That is basically all the trauma work, with the difference of the new approach to trauma, with the difference that we really know how to use the work with the body. And sometimes people are not so capable to know what I call the grammar of the body. That is something the bioenergetic really knows. How to use the techniques, how to use the breathing, how to use the vibration to restore the self-regulation in the body. So that is a big clinical field that we have to make more known to the world, that we are knowledge and capable to do. So that I think is a big clinical issue that we have to write more, we have to show more that our knowledge in a sense. The other thing is the social needs. This trauma that we are now living is more planetary trauma. And so, but again, the body is a big resource. I don't know the name now, but means that in
The
terms
body
of
has a lot
liquidity,
of resources. The
yes,
bodies know what we need to do. That's it.
yes. And
Cool.
so we know how to, and so also in that field, the bioenergetic knows how to build resilience into people. So not be just resilience, that means not to make the people feeling isolating, for example, but feel that if I am somebody, I can meet some other body. But I have to know my body before to meet another body, and before to have, I have to have trust in my energy for to overcome very terrible moments. So that is a lot that we have to, that is very important in this moment. There is a research, is a way to deal with the big trauma that I think is in our tradition in a sense. Also the social aspect is important. Not to think that is just a way that we have to do bioenergetics in the private studio, but we have to spread in a sense the culture of how to be in contact with our needs, because when we talk about body, we don't talk about the physiological body, but our emotional body. That is something that really is important to make change also in the social environment. And so to be more, I think every therapist has to be more sensitive to every social environment. And in this moment, we need a lot because we have a lot of problems, a lot of dictator and all that. And so to be self-conscious about and to give power to the people, because in a sense, we come from right that there was a big political tradition. So we don't have to make people more alive is to make people more free in a sense, free of thinking, free to life and all that. So I think those are the direction that I see where to go with the bioenergetics. I hope I've been clear on that, but I really hope that we work together planetary about that. So we work in Italy, you work in Brazil, in the States, in Europe, and other things, but really to spread those values that are really important in bioenergetics.